So the Denver Broncos unfortunately did lose on Sunday to the Colts, but Troy Franklin was a big time winner as he ends up going 100 yards from scrimmage. You can see this is just a run towards the beginning of the game. Franklin's got that elite speed. Now Bo Nix is rolling out to his left. You can see Franklin, he's right here. And all he's going to do is just run down the sideline and give Nix the opportunity to hit him. And this play is going to end up going for 42 yards. So nearly half of his receiving yards come from this one play. And look at the straight line speed. The ball's in the air. Franklin's tracking it. He comes down with it, makes an awesome catch. And credit to Bo Nix to be able to make this ball accurate. It's a tough throw right to the sideline. Franklin rolls out of bounds. Now we've got an RPO action. Sean Payton talked about how he wants to get more of the RPO game going, and this is exactly why. You see, we'll pause it right here. So if Nix were to hand this off, you've got a sea of Colts defenders, of course, just absolutely everywhere. So he ends up keeping it, and Franklin is right here, and he's just going to end up making a cut on the sort of like a slant. There it is. He catches it wide open. And the good thing about Franklin is most receivers are not really going to go anywhere after this, but watch him get all the way past this defensive back. And then Cam Bynum makes a touchdown saving tackle. But this is a nice job. Look at Franklin make that cut. Nearly almost scored here. And that sets up the Broncos to be able to punch this in. And look at this play call by Peyton. Looked like an obvious run. Franklin, once again, is going to get another touch and score. Just making magic happen. This is an awesome play call, awesome read all the way. The Broncos, towards the beginning of the game, they scored 21 points in the first half, just 7 in the second half. They were awesome. Let's take a look at this play. So Bo Nix is in, of course, shotgun. And it's just designed all the way to get Sutton out there to block, hit Franklin on the move, and he's just hoping that he can sort of win this one-on-one. The block's just unfortunate kind of, you can see Sutton goes to him, and then it kind of puts Franklin in a tough situation. What do you even do into that point? Because you're responsible for two. You kind of have to make a decision. He ends up deciding to go here. And then Franklin's going to have to make this defender miss, which he actually does do. Looks like Xavier Howard down there. And Zaire Franklin, good tackle, coming across the field. Zaire just reads it. It was a good play call, though, man. Positive yardage, once again, setting the Broncos up on the goal line. Quick screen, blockers out in front. Wow. Look how quickly Franklin burst out of this. Watch this. Ready? 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. He's just 10 yards up the field, like he's shot out of a cannon. He is so fast. The blockers are out in front. You almost have to think, what if he stayed to the right? Let me look at this. Would he have been able to get more yardage? So here's the block. Boom. No, yeah, he made the right read because he's being blocked, but he's ahead. So if he had cut here, he would have been tackled. So he tries to shoot through here, and the Colts do end up wrapping him up. But it's a good game, man. A lot of these plays are going for very good chunks. And then this was one of the few plays for Franklin that really didn't go his way. It just wasn't there. It's another RP. I don't know if this was technically designed or not. It didn't look like Nix even thought about handing this off to R.J. Harvey. But he throws it down, and you can see the Colts just read it. Kenny Moore is an all-pro nickel. He just right here, he just shoots through. He reads this all the way. Bo Nix at the time, look what he's seeing. He sees a block, and he sees an open man. He sees two blockers. But Kenny Moore, doesn't even matter. He just runs right through, puts on a big-time hit. Good job by Franklin holding on to this. That's just an all-pro player making an all-pro play. This beautiful, man, by Kenny Moore. All right, let's see what they've got here. Franklin's out wide. And it's just another screen, but the Colts have numbers. There's nothing he can do there. I like when the Broncos call these type of plays, but sometimes it's a little bit too much. Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, let's get Franklin across the middle of the field, and Nick Cross makes an unbelievable tackle. You can see there's not a lot of room. There's space for sure. The defender's kind of trailing, but of course, zone defense, somebody's going to be there ready to make a play. Nick Cross does. And then I want to say this is a play where Nix just misses him, right? And this is a tough throw, but Bo Nix did have him. He's just running it's just a post. Very difficult throw. You guys are this is a better angle, but just watch. Clean pocket, as clean as it can possibly be. He has to throw it over a defensive back and then underneath one, so it's not the easiest throw, but man, you've got to hit this if you're Bo Nix. One of the few mistakes he made, did have that pick, but I mean, if he catches so the Broncos are, they have the ball at the 35-yard line, so if he catches this, they're in Colt territory. It's just a little bit underthrown. Bo Nix has a good arm, man. He's not going to miss that often. But yeah, Troy Franklin balled the hell out, man. He had 89 yards and a touchdown through the air, 42-yard catch, caught 8 of his 9 targets, by the way, and then he had that 11-yard rush. Just super, super electric performance by the second-year receiver. I was high on Franklin coming out of college at Oregon, played with Bo Nix, and fell to the 4th round. A lot of people had him as a first or a second-round grade. He's 6'3", 180, super, super quick. He's got 133 yards on the season on 12 receptions. He's 19th in yards, guys. He's got a touchdown, 11.1 average, which is super good as well. I mean, that basically means every catch is, more than a first down, assuming that's 10 yards to go. Like what I'm seeing out of Troy Franklin. I was a little bit skeptical about what we'd get out of him in year 2 because the Broncos, sure, they went out and they drafted Pat Bryant, but I was thinking, is that going to be enough? They brought in Evan Ingram, which I liked, but they were sold on Cortland Sutton. They thought he was one of the best receivers. They gave him an extension. They drafted Pat Bryant, of course, and they believed in the year 2 leaps of Marvin Mims and Troy Franklin. And so far, it's looked pretty good. Now, of course, Pat Bryant did have his first catch as a Bronco. Didn't really do too much from a number standpoint, but he's blocking. He's sort of getting up to speed in this offense, and it's not an easy offense by any means. We saw Marvin Mims. It took him like 12 weeks to kind of get going. Troy Franklin's just getting going now in his second season. So, he did have that, of course, awesome touchdown catch against the Bills in an opening drive. I was speaking of electric. But just give these receivers time. Bo Nix, I thought, was absolutely cooking. Unfortunately, no one's going to remember that because he threw that pick. And Will Lutz missing a 42-yard field goal. Jonathan Taylor going for over 200 yards from scrimmage. Daniel Jones dominated the blitz. The Broncos have a lot of work to do, but it's week 2. No one should be panicking. It's a close game. If it hadn't been for a leverage call, which you could argue was complete BS, the Broncos win this game, despite giving up over 500 yards of offense totally. So I'm not really disappointed by any means from this game. If anything, I'm more encouraged about the Broncos. And with the Chargers next week being without Khalil Mack, so obviously Rashawn Slater is out for the season, the Broncos have an opportunity. The Chargers can't run the ball as well. It's going to be tough for the Broncos to be able to push the ball on their offense, but the Colts also have a pretty good defense, and the Broncos did well there by putting up, 28 points, was it? I believe so, yeah, it was, 29-28? No, that is not right. I don't know, something like, yeah, it was 29-28. Yes, 28 points of offense. Should have been 31. That 42-yard kick had gone. I think the thing about Denver is going to be just slowing down the Chargers, putting them in 3rd and long situations, and then offensively, Bo Nix has to be able to read these coverages. The first game against the Titans, he looked lost. Jesse Minter is as good as it gets. He's in his 2nd season as the DC of the Chargers, but he's as good as it gets as confusing opposing quarterbacks. So Bo Nix has to be ready for that. And the easiest way for him to be ready is for his offensive linemen to hold up blocking, which they always do. There's going to be a lot of... Actually, you know what? There's not going to be a lot of 4-man rushes without Khalil Mack. The Chargers, after the first quarter, it was like mid-first quarter when Mack got injured last night, they did terrible rushing for us. So they're probably going to blitz a lot, which means that Sutton, Franklin, Mims, of course, Bryant, Ingram, these guys are going to have to win their matchups because there's not going to be much time. But for Bo Nix, this team is going to go where Bo Nix goes. It's as simple as that. He has to make plays. He has to win the game. And he put his team in a situation where they had a 42-yard field goal, which would have put them up 5 points or whatever to that point, and the kick was no good, and then the Colts got in field goal range and they missed it, but then there was a leverage call. So it was honestly, it's one of those games like it just can't happen again. Thankfully, it was week 2, and thankfully it wasn't against like the Chargers or the Chiefs because those are the teams that the Broncos must beat this season. But yeah, I'm out.